Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, good to have you join us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift or Gete. In our major story, unidentified political thug attacks convoy of President Goodluck Jonathan in Katsina State during the continuation of his re-election campaign. Also in this program, Army denies having the school certificate of presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. Police authorities deploy controversial Assistant Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbutu Legas among other postings ahead of the February elections. And outside Nigeria, visiting U.S. lawmakers voiced hope that historic talks between U.S. and Cuban officials this week will mark a new era of relations ending decades of Cold War hostilities. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now, details of the headlines and other stories. Unidentified political thugs on Tuesday attacked the convoy of President Goodluck Jonathan in Katsina State during the continuation of his re-election campaign. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, is from the state's troubled started when Jonathan, accompanied by Vice President Mahdi Sambo, National Chairman of the PDP, Adamu Muazu, and Governor Ibrahim Shema of Katsina State, among others, decided to pay a courtesy visit to the late President Umaru Yar'Adua's mother, Hajia Dada. As the president and members of his entourage made their way into the Yar'Adua quarters, the brooms wheeled youths who were suspected to be members of the APC, chanting "Sai Buhari," surged forward. Security agents had a hectic time dispersing the crowd. The youths regrouped and again moved to attack the president's convoy as it was ready to leave the residence after the visit. Security agents fired tear gas, canisters to disperse the youths to allow vehicles in the convoy speed off. As the presidential delegation made their way towards the casino airport, the youths hurled stones at the convoy. No case of injury was, however, reported. While addressing a rally earlier at the National Youth Service Orientation Camp in the state's capital, Jonathan had attributed his presidency to the late president, who he said chose him as a vice president in 2007 for this reason. The president promised to always meet the needs of the people of the state before they ask. The police authorities have redeployed controversial Assistant Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbutu Legas ahead of the February elections. As one of 13 senior police officers who have been redeployed to new formations by Inspector General Sulaiman Abba. 15 others, however, retained their seats in the major shake-up announced in a statement issued by police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu. Mbuhu, until now, was AIG in charge of Zone 7 Abuja, as to replace Umaru Manko, who has been posted to the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies as study director. Adenrele Shinaba, who was Commissioner of Police in Kano, is now the AIG Zone 4 in Makurdi. Buhari's certificate is next. The Army has denied having the school certificate of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. Army spokesman Olajide Laleye told journalists in Abuja that it only has a letter of recommendation from the principal of the school attended by the retired general. He ordered that the army, however, has the admission from filed in which the former head of state indicated that he obtained credits in 4 subjects and a pass.
Let me state clearly that the Nigerian Army holds the retired senior officer in very high esteem and respect and would not be a party to any controversy surrounding his eligibility for any political office. Suffice to state that Major General Buhari rose steadily to the enviable rank of Major General in the Nigerian Army before becoming the head of state of our dear country in December 1983. However, the media hype on retired Major General Muhammadu Buhari's credentials, as well as the numerous requests made by individuals and corporate bodies to the Nigerian Army on this issue of his credentials, have necessitated that we provide the facts as contained in the retired senior officer's service record. Now, the records available indicate that Major General Muhammadu Buhari applied to join the military as a Form 6 student of the Provincial Secondary School, Katsina, on 18 October 1961. His application was duly endorsed by the principal of the school, who also wrote a report on him and recommended him to be suitable for military commission. The selection board verifies the original copies of the credentials that are presented. However, there is no available record to show that this process was followed in the 1960s. Nevertheless, the entry made on the Nigerian Army Form 199A at the point of documentation after commission as an officer indicated that the former head of state obtained the West African School Certificate in 1961 with credits in relevant subjects, namely English language, geography, history, health science, Hausa, and then a pass in English literature. However, neither the original copy, the certified true copy, that is CTC, nor the statement of result of Major General Muhammadu Buhari's West African School Certificate result is in his personal file.
The All Progressives Congress says its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari is qualified to contest next month's presidential election, even if the army says it is not in possession of his certificates. It also warned that those seeking to destroy Buhari on the basis of his certificates may end up destroying the country's military as well. Speaking on Tuesday through its spokesman, Lai Mohammed, the party alleged that the People's Democratic Party and the Jonathan administration were playing a dangerous game by trying to compromise the military in order to satisfy political objectives. It urged the military, as a symbol of national unity, to be wary of those who might be seeking to use it to achieve selfish and divisive ends. The APC said the statement credited to Olajide Olaleye, army spokesman, at the press conference in Abuja that the army was not in possession of Buhari's certificates was in direct conflict with what he said on January 4 on the same issue. The party argued that in an interview with the Punch on January 4, Olaleye had said every serving and retired army officer had at least a copy of his certificate kept with the Nigerian Army, while the same serving and retired officer had copies of those same certificates. A coalition of 60 civil society groups in the country has described the recent front-page advert in select national newspapers as a breach of the Abuja Accord signed by leading presidential candidates. The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room says the wraparound advert, which were largely paid for by the Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose, falls into the category of hate speech. The coalition said in a statement issued in Abuja that it was disappointed that such a publication could emanate from a highly placed political office holder. It equally condemned the newspapers which published the advertisement for violating their duty of promoting national cohesion at the critical time in the life of the country. The CSO coalition noted that by including photographs of former heads of state and presidents of northern origin who had died in office, Fayose appeared to suggest that a similar fate awaits Muhammad Buhari if elected president. The National Fundraising Committee of the All Progressives Congress has promised to run an accountable and transparent fundraising towards achieving victory for its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari at the polls come February. Chairman of the committee and Lagos State Governor Babátúndé Fáṣọlá stated this at the unveiling of the Muhammadu Buhari Yemi Osinbajo National Fundraising Committee. Abiola Oluwole was at the media briefing. His report is presented from our studios.
The media parley, according to Governor Fáṣọlá, is to sensitize willing Nigerians on how to donate towards the Muhammadu Buhari campaign. Fáṣọlá says different platforms have been adopted by the fundraising committee to make the process of donating easy for those willing to do so.
We have partnered with 5 banks to start, and those 5 banks are First Bank, Zenith Bank, Access Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Eco Bank. And they have agreed to provide platforms for those who want to pay by cash lodgements at the banks.
He, however, maintained that banks and telecom companies partnering the committee are doing so for commercial purpose without any partisan consideration.
Let me say that all the businesses and platforms that we have partnered with have no partisan position to the best of my knowledge. This is a purely commercial transaction. They are simply putting forward their platforms and providing professional services, and this is important for me to say before the ruling party starts to threaten their businesses.
Fáṣọlá noted that the committee will ensure strict adherence to the nation's constitution and electoral law in the process of raising funds for its presidential candidate. Members of the committee include Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso of Kano, former Governor Olagusoyi Oyinlola, a former Commissioner for Finance in Lagos State, Wale Edu, amongst others from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
As the general elections draw near and various groups and associations continue to endorse the candidates of their choice, a student group tagged the Student Volunteers for Buhari Osinbajo has commenced what it tagged street evangelism to preach the gospel of the Buhari Osinbajo ticket to Lagosians and all Nigerians. The group, which staged a road show from the popular CMS bus stop on Marina to the Beko Ransom Kutu Park in Oshodi, say it will continue to canvass votes for the ticket and all APC candidates in Lagos State. Kasim Kasali, who monitored the procession, filed in this report presented from our studios.
With the sound of famous vuvuzela heralding them, the student volunteers who say they are in the vanguard to change Nigeria for good and move the nation forward, moved from the CMS bus stop in Marina on Lagos Island to a stop at the Beko Ransom Kutu Park in Oshodi. Speakers say the opportunity to change Nigeria may not be available again for a long time, prompting them to become evangelists in the cause for change.
In the books of history, the last of history, we have gone to read that Buhari is an incorruptible man. He has integrity in what has in this country. Corruption is the root cause of all our societal problems.
The question has always been, when they see students or when they see youth gathered this way, they think probably some politicians have called them together, give them some stipends. No, we're not doing that. Let me tell us some basic facts. Those facts are, currently now, if you observed, in Nigeria, there has never been a situation where we'll be having an election and people will be so much motivated like this. Currently, we believe the way this country has been run for over 6 years is not the right way. And we can't put our future into jeopardy for the next 4 years.
Obviously, there is a huge division in the rank of the National Association of Nigerian Students. The students, however, say they intend to carry along everyone irrespective of their differences.
These are the real students, yes. And they have their PVC, yes. They have canvas, and they are also doing evangelism, yes. And they are ready to make a change. Yes. Now put NANS on one side, and put the people on another side. These are genuine students that are ready to effect change in this country, and that is going to happen.
We want change in this country. Change can do it. Buhari will do it. Ambode can do it. Osibanjo can do it. If we vote for change, there will be change. There is need for change in this country. No more corruption.
And as they join the list of those who have endorsed Buhari ahead of the presidential election, they still have to wait for February 14 to find out if their prayer concerning the APC presidential candidate will be answered.
The Kwara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has accused the All Progressives Congress of plans to rig the forthcoming general elections. Making the accusation at the inauguration of its campaign committee, the PDP accused the APC of buying voter cards for the purpose of malpractices ahead of the general elections. Rashid has more.
The Kwara PDP kickstarts its various campaigns in the state on a firebrand note. The party, which claims a united front, accuses the ruling APC of plans to rig the forthcoming elections.
That has no hope of winning the election, that you rely solely on rigging, because the people of Kwara have said they don't want them again. It's no longer fighting. We are not quarreling among ourselves. The event that happened during the primary is normal in democracy. After somebody has emerged, all others have come together to work with that person and assure that we control the government of Kwara State by February or by May this year.
Chairman of Kwara PDP, Iyola Oyedepo, who describes the governorship tenures of Bukola Saraki and Abdul Fattah Ahmed as questionable, says the PDP is now poised to occupy the Kwara government house.
That has been in place for 12 years. We need to now hold them accountable. To buy fund for 12 years, they need to account for some people for 4 or 5 years, and several other things that they need to account for. So if they now tell you that they have gone far, they have not gone far at all. Within a very short time, we shall not only meet them, we shall overtake them. And we are going to hold them accountable for their years in the service of Kwara. Swear on your farm that by the grace of God, I will work out to secure victory for PDP.
With Bola Shagaya as chairman advisory committee, Shoaib Abdurrahman Oba as chairman of the campaign committee, and John Dara as the director general, the PDP says it is ready to roll out issue-based campaigns ahead of February polls.
The time has come for the PDP campaign train to now start rolling and moving all over Kwara State. The people of Kwara State have been waiting for this moment when the campaign train will roll out. Now we have the mandate of the leadership of the party to keep going. And I tell you, there will be no dull moment until victory is won.
What kind of campaign should people expect from you now that the campaign of calumny has actually facilitated?
Our campaign will be based on issues. It will be based on facts. It will be based on the reality on the ground in Kwara State. For us in Kwara State, we are confident.
The PDP, according to some observers, no doubt have an uphill task ahead to wrestle power from the ruling APC as the February battle date draws near. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilori.
On your farm, that by the grace of God, I will work out to secure victory for PDP.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. Nigerian Broadcasting Commission issues strong warning to broadcasters across the country on coverage of the 2015 elections. Find out why after this break. Stay with us.
Niger has got her pulse back. Now you can call from your campus and from over 500 other campuses at 11 cover per second all day to any network, plus lots of other awesome benefits. Dial *406#. Step into the pulsing zone. It's MTN iPulse, baby. Back, bigger, and better.
Awesome P. MTN. Everywhere you go.
I'm so happy. dose of Scott's Emulsion, which combines omega-3, calcium, vitamins A and D, supports the healthy development of your child's brain and body. Scott's Emulsion promotes active minds and strong immunity in growing children. New Scott's Orange Flavor Multivitamin Emulsion.
Welcome back. Thanks for still staying tuned with us. A reminder of our headlines. Unidentified political thug attacks convoy of President Goodluck Jonathan in Katsina State during the continuation of his re-election campaign. Army denies having the school's certificate of presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. Police authorities deploy controversial Assistant Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbutu Lagos, among other posting ahead of February elections. Don't forget that you can also catch us on our social media platform on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News, on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, and on YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV News. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos, Jimmy Agbaje, has expressed dissatisfaction at the crisis hovering around the distribution and collection of the permanent voter cards. The development has resulted in several complaints against the Independent National Electoral Commission, which has continued to assure Nigerians that it is working tirelessly on the distribution of the cards. Agbaje has, however, expressed fear that a lot of people in Lagos may not be able to vote on election day due to what he called the shoddy PVC distribution exercise.
We're still not satisfied with the INEC, with the issue of voters' cards. There are a lot of Lagosians that are disenfranchised at this point in time because they don't have their voters' cards. They fall into different categories. You have those whose names were wiped out from the computer completely through no fault of theirs. And when your name is wiped out, it means the only way forward is to register fresh. But then INEC was not ready for the kind of fresh registration that would bring about. You have those, of course, whose locations had been changed. In other words, where they normally vote, register and vote, they found that they had been located far away from where they stay. On election day, it will become difficult for them to go and vote because of the restriction of movement. There are those, of course, the younger ones who wanted to register but could not because a lot of the machines were not working, because the time frame was short.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has revealed that about 250,000 are yet to collect their permanent voter cards out of 732,776 registered voters in Ekiti State. The resident electoral commissioner Sam Olumekun, who disclosed this in Ado-Ekiti, says the commission is poised to surpass the June 21st, 2014 feat of the commission in Ekiti State during the governorship election. Rashid has more in this report.
In line with the yearnings of the commission to add value to the process, it has come up with a policy to make use of smart card readers during the 2015 general elections, in which case we are going to electronically confirm prospective voters, and we will also record the number of people who have voted centrally in our data system.
From one state to another, the Independent National Electoral Commission continues to display its readiness to deliver credible general elections. Among this is the use of the electronic card reader. The new resident electoral commissioner Sam Olumekun says over 500,000 voters have so far collected their PVCs in Ekiti State.
The number of PVC distributed as at date comprises of 241,629 males, and we have a figure of 246,4 400 for females. The total number of PVC distributed is 488,029.
The legal unit of the commission clears the air on its involvement in the fallout of primary elections of all the political parties in the state.
We don't have the power to exclude anybody. It is purely the party's activity to do. Whoever they nominate and bring to INEC, it is that person we are going to take.
The stakes are daily becoming high as the elections draw near. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
The National Broadcasting Commission is demanding professional reportage and coverage by broadcasters before, during and after the elections in February. This was the thrust of a message delivered at the one-day sensitization meeting on political broadcasting for journalists and other stakeholders in the Abuja zone. NBC maintains that airing stations would be liable to severe sanctions if they breach provisions of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code. Basia reports.
The meeting was a gathering of broadcast professionals in the Abuja zone. It is one in the series organized by the regulatory body to set the tone for political reporting, especially as elections draw near. NBC says the meeting is meant to avoid a repeat of what led to 35 broadcast stations being sanctioned after the 2011 elections for various breaches.
Forget the ethnic politics, forget the religious politics, and let's face the politics of issues. You are to drive the campaign. Don't let the politicians drive it. Tell them how we want to go. And we know what the issues involved are. Let's not talk about the personalities. Let's talk about the issues.
In view of this, the regulators say the code must be strictly complied with to forestall a repeat.
At the end of the day, we want to go back to our jobs. At the end of this election, we would like to go back to our jobs and continue to inform people across the country, continue to do our work as professionals. So if we lend ourselves to politicians or to the political climate that creates an environment that leads to violence, then I think we'll be doing ourselves a great disservice.
The Commission wants media practitioners to avoid relying on unconfirmed information from the social media in the course of carrying out their task. NBC is also demanding editorial responsibility.
All programs, all political programs, all must understand, must observe the provisions of the code from the beginning of the code to the end. You must put those thoughts of the code from the beginning of a program to the end. It must be truthful, it must be decent, it must be legal, and all that stuff. Those basic characters must be there. It must be truthful, it must be decent, no obscenity, and you must not raise temperatures. It must be identifiable. We must know who is talking. It must be recognized. There must be no hearsay. You must take editorial responsibility.
The regulatory body stressed need for media owners and managers to ensure that those in their employ are knowledgeable on the workings of the industry. The Abuja end of the sensitization meeting has come and gone, but the Commission hopes that by the time it takes its campaign across the country, Nigeria would record responsible broadcast of the February elections. Basia, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The reduction of premium motor spirit, otherwise called petrol, from 97 naira to 87 naira is still a mere proclamation as far as the people of Ekiti are concerned. Residents of Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, have appealed to government of the state to enforce the new price regime. Rashid visited some petrol stations and discovered that dealers of petroleum products in the state are yet to comply with the new directive. His report.
2 days after the federal government announced the new pump price regime, Ekiti residents are yet to feel any impact of the reduction. Managers of fuel stations said there is need for them to exhaust the current product, which was sold to them at 94 naira 50 kobo ex-depot.
What the federal government has done is fair, but it's not perfectly good, because when we consider the price, the reduction in the crude oil, together with the refined one now, we will see that there's still a wide margin. Well, maybe the government has decided to reduce it as a political strategy. We don't know. But once they have reduced it, we wish that after election, the thing will not jack up again.
Nigeria is following in the direction the world over. Prices of crude crashing down, and the pump price also coming down, but it's 10 naira is still minimum.
Expect government to reduce it to about 50%. So, and the timing, they're supposed to have reduced it for a very long time, not now.
And for Sikiru Ogunshakin, a chieftain of the National Union of Road Transport Workers in Ekiti, transport fares remain the same since the fuel price has not changed.
There is no difference, because the marketer said he didn't sell a price for us. We are selling old price, so that is a problem. Whether there is any adjustment, so far it's not selling a new price, so there is no adjustment.
Meanwhile, the Ekiti state government has promised a clampdown on filling stations that fail to comply with the new development across the state.
Our agency will go out to checkmate them. All machineries are set in place to actualize the 87 naira per litre.
How long the present product stock in the hands of the dealers will last remains for many a matter of conjecture. One thing, however, is sure: the dealers will be first to comply with the new fuel price regime when the sledgehammer comes calling. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
2 days after the federal government reduced the pump price per litre of fuel to 87 naira, some filling stations within the Benin metropolis in Edo State have been sealed up for refusing to abide by the new price regime. The filling stations sealed by Edo State Petroleum Monitoring Committee after inspection include IDSL NNPC, FO Divine Eagle Filling Station, NNPC, among others. They were cut still selling at the old price of 97 naira when the task force swapped on them. Managers of the affected stations who spoke off camera said the engineers are yet to adjust to the new pump price, while others said they wanted to seal off or sell off their old stock before adjusting their pumps. Some consumers who bought the product at the rate of 97 naira per litre said they were not aware of the new pump price.
So it's a very terrible thing, and they know what that means. We will not compromise. Well, products generally are supposed to be market driven, but of course we have a little bit of a welfare system. Like you are aware, there are certain products like the AGO that has been completely deregulated by the federal government. Why the other two prominent ones, the DPK and the PMS, are largely still under the program of subsidy. But be that as it may, we will enforce every given directive of the government.
Meanwhile, some petrol stations in Lagos appear to have readily complied with the directive of the federal government to slash their fuel pump price from 97 naira to 87 naira. Those who were yet to comply with the new price regime were observed to have closed their filling stations, obviously for fear of government's hammer. Some motorists spoke to CoreTV News on the development.
The 87 naira is not that much anyway. If they will have brought it down to 65 naira. It would have been better if you come back to the normal price they were before. And as that 10 naira is not, it doesn't make any difference for me. Because the transport is still the same thing. Understand? Price of things are still the same. So there's not much difference. Government, they're trying, but they should put more effort
I want it to come down more than this. To come down more than this.
To like
65. They say 65. They say all has come down everywhere, and we know. But governments, they are doing what they like. So that is it.
The government can still reduce the price as well. Yeah, they can. Yes, now, because 10 naira is nothing. You can still bring it down to like 17 naira. I think it's still okay for 17 naira. That is it.
With the strike called by the Joint Health Workers Union in its second month and the government still not acceding to their request, members of the union at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital in Idiaraba gathered for a day of prayers to continue to draw attention to their plight. Kasim Kasali, who was there, he filed in this report presented from our studios.
This gathering for a casual observer looks like a prayer meeting, but a closer inspection revealed its true composition. The striking health workers gathered for what their leaders refer to as a means of calling the attention of government and the people of Nigeria to the ongoing bias in the sector.
We are using this medium to say that campaigning does not mean that governance should stop, that the whole federal institution, the whole federal health institution, that's teaching hospital, federal medical centers, research institute, have been on strike since 12th of November. And since January this year, there has not been any engagement with government. I don't think this is good enough.
The gathering also witnessed fervent prayers and songs of praise to God for his intervention.
And God is always on our side. Oh yes. This battle is not for you and me. Yes. It's God's battle. Oh yes. And it's God that is going to fight this battle for us. Yes. Whether the devil like it or not, yes, we are going to succeed. Amen. We are going to overcome. Amen.
Some of the workers spoke on the expectation from government, while also expressing disappointment at the failure of government to respond when it only took 2 weeks to address a similar strike embarked upon by medical doctors.
Well, with this gathering, we intend to add fire to the pressure that we are already giving to the government, and we hope that by this pressure, by this gathering, we will be able to prevail on the federal government of Nigeria to accede to our request.
They promised some people for just 2 weeks, and they answered them. So are we not the same? We are working in the same environment. We are doing the same job. One man, even somebody who is a cleaner in this hospital, cannot, if your office is not being cleaned, my brother, you know what it is.
What I want to say now, I'm going to appeal to the federal government to please to come to our aid, to answer us, because you cannot have 2 children, you cannot have 2 children, and you pamper one, then you set one aside. We don't want that. You have to carry 2 of them along. So we want federal government to listen to our voice, to listen to our crisis, because they say the voice of a man is the voice of the world.
The workers in the sector have vowed to continue to press home their demands.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and return with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Niger has got her pulse back. Now you can call from your campus and from over 500 other campuses at 11 cover per second all day to any network, plus lots of other awesome benefits. Dial *406#. Step into the pulsing zone. It's MTN iPulse, baby. Back, bigger, and better.
Awesome P. MTN. Everywhere you go.
Dose of Scott's Emotion, which combines omega-3, calcium, vitamins A and D, supports the healthy development of your child's brain and body. Scott's Emotion promotes active minds and strong immunity in growing children. New Scott's orange flavor multivitamin emotion.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV Primetime News, now to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria has left the value of the naira unchanged, contrary to reports about further devaluation. It also left the monetary policy rate at 13%. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said this at the end of the two-day monetary policy committee meeting in Abuja. He also disclosed that deposit banks are intervening in commercial agricultural scheme as well as refinancing the aviation sector. This, according to him, is in order to improve the real sector of the economy. The federal government is to ensure that security agencies and schools across the country use only made-in-Nigeria fabrics for their uniforms and other garments. This, according to the Minister of Trade and Investment, Olusegun Aganga, as part of plans to revamp the nation's moribund textile industry. He made this known at the official launch of the National Cotton, Textile and Garment Policy in Abuja. The minister argued that the measure will help reduce the estimated $2 billion spent annually on textile imports. And now to sports. World Football Governing Body FIFA has responded to a letter sent to it by Ikechukwu Igbokwe, one of the petitioners against the September 30, 2014 Nigeria Football Federation elections, which brought about the Amaju Pinnick Board. Igbokwe earlier wrote to FIFA to direct the Nigeria Football Federation to institute an arbitration panel to hear his case, which FIFA obliged, but with a provision that it was an internal matter which should be dealt with internally. But with the seeming reluctance of the NFF to institute the arbitration panel, Igbokwe has once again written to Zurich, asking FIFA to compel the NFF to institute the panel. The World Football Governing Body has, however, replied Igbokwe, maintaining that it is not in a position to intervene. And from sports, we move straight to a stock market report with Sabina Izuku.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izuku. The equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed on a positive note today as the Nigerian All-Shares Index appreciated by 0.15% to close at 29,819.39 basis points. The market capitalization increased in the same manner to close at 9.93 trillion naira. A total volume of 311.5 million units of shares, valued at 4.1 billion naira, exchanged in 4,640 deals. On the gainers side, Guinness started the gainers chart to close at 131 naira 50 kobo, with 5 naira 50 kobo gain, followed by 40 Oil, West African Production Company, United African Company of Nigeria, and Guaranty Trust Bank. On the loser side, Nestle topped the chart, trailed by Seplat Oil, 7up, Okomo Oil, and Dangote Cement. Meanwhile, First Bank of Nigeria Holdings topped the traders chart, followed by Zenith Bank, Transcorp, Axis Bank, and United Bank for Africa. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
There you have it, Stock Market Report for today with Sabina Izuku. Well, we'll take another break and return with stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Good to have you still. Stay tuned now to Cuba. U.S. lawmakers visiting Havana voiced hope Monday that historic talks between U.S. and Cuban officials this week will mark a new era of relations ending decades of Cold War-era hostilities. The six-member delegation of congressional Democrats, led by Senator Patrick Leahy, met Foreign Minister Bruno, as well as dissident and Cardinals James Ortega during their two-day visit. Their trip preceded talks on Wednesday and Thursday between Cuban officials and the highest-ranking U.S. delegation to visit Havana since 1980s. The meeting will be the first since the historic announcement in December by U.S. President Barack Obama and Cuban leader Paul Castro, and that their countries will normalize ties that broke off in 1961.
Cuban arts to Cardinal Ortega, who had worked with me and others to facilitate via the Vatican discussions with Pope Francis and President Obama.
This is historic. We were frozen in the same foreign policy with Cuba for over 50 years. Finally, this president came to the realization that that policy wasn't serving the best ends of the United States or of Cuba or of the world. And now we're moving to a new era. It's more than opening trade and travel between the United States and Cuba. It's a question of opening up a relationship and the exchange of ideas. Many of us believe that ideas are compelling when they come to basic human values and human rights. And opening up Cuba and opening up a relationship with the United States gives us a chance to move forward in this hemisphere. It's the power of ideas that many of us believe will be the result of this new relationship between the United States and Cuba. We are hopeful that at the end of the day, we can have a much better relationship and a much better future for both countries.
We don't want anyone to have to worry about whether or not there'll be potatoes on the shelves or milk on the shelves or pork or beef or grains or fruits or vegetables. We would love to be partners in that as well.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we wrap up, a recap of our major headlines. Unidentified political thugs attacked a convoy of President Goodluck Jonathan in Katsina State during the continuation of his re-election campaign. We also brought a report that Army denies having the school's certificate of presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. You also heard that the police authorities have deployed controversial Assistant Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbutulegas, among other postings, ahead of February elections. And that's our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift or Geta. Do have a lovely night rest. Good night.